right, I think we're at quorum, so I'm going to call our meeting to order. All right, thank you. So let's start off with the approval of the minutes from August 1st. Are there any edits?
I thought they were great.
Me too.
Lara continues to crush the minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve our minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Farrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Wittes. Would probably
Again, yes.
and Zulik.
Yes.
All right.
All right. So we are now at 7 o'clock. So I'm going to start us off with a notice of intent for 27 Pine Hill Road. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Westboro Wetlands Bylaw and Southboro Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, August 22nd, 2024 at 7 p.m. via virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a notice of intent for a project located at 27 Pine Hill Road, map 79, lot 24 for the applicant and owner, Shannon and Timothy Butler. This project description, the construction of an in-ground pool, patio, and pavilion.
So we have, the engineer or the representative here from land planning. So Stephen, I'll let you do the intro. And if you want me to share my screen, just let me know. Otherwise, you're.
Good evening. As Melissa mentioned, Stephen Balsavich here on behalf of Land Planning, Inc., representing the property owner and applicant, Timothy and Shannon Butler. As mentioned in the project narrative, the proposal is to construct an in-ground pool, patio, and pavilion. I didn't catch that, Melissa. Did you say you wanted to share a screen, or would I be able to share a screen?
You're more than welcome to.
Right. Let me. All right. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Yes.
You guys see that?
Yes.
All right. One second. I seem to be. Be very quiet.
Can you hear us okay?
Can you guys say something? Seems to have muted once I shared the screen.
We can see your screen. We're here.
We'll just go through this. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep, we can hear
Yes.
you.
All right, so the proposal is to construct, as stated, a pool, patio, and pavilion. Sheet 1 is an existing condition plan for the property. This is the dwelling that exists on the property. There's an existing patio that exists that will be removed and replaced in more or less the same location as the proposed pool. The resource areas of interest are on the easterly edge, a named perennial stream, Angelica Brook, a BVW next to and adjacent to the high water mark of that bank, in addition to the 100-foot FEMA Zone A line in red. I believe you're all familiar with the color coding. So the yellow being the riverfront buffer zone, inner riparian, outer riparian. The red being that zone A 100-foot buffer. And then the green is being the 100-foot BVW buffer and the 25 no disturb located here. When we move to sheet 2, let's see the road. We're proposing the pool and patio as provided by McCarthy Pools, a shape like this, patio running around the pool, minimum apron length on the downhill side to reduce the impact. The pool overall dimensions will be 16 by, I believe, by 30, that's not what I was in, 16 by 36, and then a pavilion located at the northwesterly corner of the patio. There is some associated grading with this construction as indicated on the downhill side. We have proposed sediment and erosion control barriers along the limits of the construction. We've identified this as a temporary stockpile material, stockpile area as needed by the contractor. And a small retaining wall will be necessary on the westerly or high side of the hill. It's also important to note that the proposal is within the existing tree line limits. So being it's in the lawn. If we move over to sheet 3, we have provided a detail of at 10 scale, more detail on the pool and how the pool runoff generation will be handled, and also the most I should say the limit of work around this area. Being that it's in the riverfront, we have provided on sheet 2 riverfront alteration calculations, and we have exceeded the value of allowable by 1,800 square feet. To mitigate this, we propose to allow this area here, which is currently lawn, to revegetate naturally, and we propose a stockade, split rail fence, I should say, along the property line to delineate that area. The detail on sheet 3 also provides a planting schedule for this area, which is the restoration area on our actual property. And all the areas that are off our property will just be allowed to revegetate naturally. I will stop sharing my screen. And if anybody has any questions at this moment, I would be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. Does anyone in the commission have any comments or questions? Sherry?
Has Lucas looked at that?
Yes.
I did have one, yeah.
Seems to have a problem with my speaker. One moment. Yeah, you guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, all right. There you are. It seemed like when I went to share my screen, it changed my source for the speaker. Elizabeth, I believe you had a question.
I think Sherry has a first question, and then we'll go to Lucas Environmental and Joe to see if they have any comments as well. But
Hi, Stephen. Just to wrap my head around it, the parcel that you're proposing the restoration on, who owns that?
So that area actually, and it gets kind of a gray area. If you go back in aerial images all the way back to when the property was developed, there was a stockade fence going around this area. And the, I believe it's Angelica Way went in following that. And a lot within that subdivision gets its frontage from this area. So it is actually owned by a property that actually has an address on, I believe it is Angelica Way. So it is in a butter to the property. It has historically, to my knowledge, been a maintained farm field and has always been maintained as such, and basically been mowed and maintained by 27 Pine Hill Road. So it's a little bit of an encroachment over the property line.
Thank you.
Yes.
any other questions from the commission before we go to
I
Joe?
guess I just want to probe a little further on that issue. If it's an encroachment, does that mean that there could come a time when the plantings are taken down by the property owner?
When, I'm sorry, when what gets taken down?
If the plantings are being put on a parcel of land that is not owned by the person who's doing the planting, it would seem that they may not be necessarily going to stay there.
Yes, so, and I don't want to share my screen because my speaker's getting, kind of funny.
I think I
But
might,
the actual, the proposed
Oh.
plantings that we're proposing are on our property. All the areas that we're restoring off the property, we're just gonna allow them to revegetate naturally.
so I'm just gonna share this quickly. So this area on the abutting property will just be allowed to revegetate. And then, so this thick dark line is the property line. So these plantings will be on the property of 27 Pine Hill. The area off property will just be allowed to revegetate. There will be no plantings done on the other property.
Okay, so it's basically not mowing anymore.
Correct.
Thank you.
Correct. I will also note that the applicant property owner have, basically, displayed an interest in, discussing this vegetation back there. It is actually invasive species. And where it is off the property, they can't actively manage that without the authorization of that property owner. So they were actually, going to be in talks with the neighbor to possibly talk about removal of invasives and management of that. Primary concern we had, which I told the applicant, was that if we let this area revegetate naturally and there's invasives, naturally it would just take over with invasives. So we've talked to them about, really managing this area, but it also needs to be coordinated with the actual property owner that owns it.
I'm gonna go to Lucas Environmental. Joe, do you have any comments? Have you been able to review?
Yeah, I did get a chance to go out this night and look it over. I took a look at the delineation. As was noted, there's some pretty thick invasive vegetation down along the stream and up to the tree line. And I was in agreement with the flags. There was just one bank flag at A9 that I thought was about 4 feet low. And that may be that the branch that it was actually attached to may have fallen down over the edge of the bank because it's a pretty well-defined bank. So it's possible that the location on the plan is correct and that the flag in the field may have just be changed because of a branch falling down. I did also note there's a couple of large grass clippings and brush piles in the edge of the tree line. Within the 100-foot inner riparian line, and would recommend that those be removed or moved to a different location outside the riparian zone, the inner riparian. Also note that there's an additional area of lawn that is maintained in the southeast portion of the property that is also with the inner riparian zone. Which is another potential area for mitigation or some plantings or allowing to revegetate naturally. I think some of that is on site and I believe some of that is also off site. I think it was noted in some of the correspondence previously that the application did not include an alternative analysis, which is necessary for any proposed work in the riverfront area. And it's my understanding that that was being prepared. Also, would recommend a more detailed narrative describing existing conditions and proposed conditions within the riverfront area. Particularly with respect to existing degraded area, impervious degraded area, and what the total impervious degraded area would be post-construction. Now, it looks like on some of the tables that were on the site plans that the entire impervious area on the site was included in some of that information rather than just the area within the 200-foot riverfront zone. So that should be, providing it for the entire site is fine, but it should also be broken out as far as how much of that is within the riverfront area, so that an accurate determination can be made regarding how much mitigation may be required. It doesn't look like the existing impervious or degraded was included in the totals, the post totals for allowable alteration within the riverfront area. And I think that pretty much summarizes my comments. I had several comments in the memo that dealt with the riverfront area numbers, and I think I just summarized those combined. So I think that's about all I have right now.
Thanks, Joe. From my
Oh,
understanding.
sorry, can I, through the chair?
Yes.
Yes, I did have a comment on regarding invasive species. It was just mentioned and discussed by Stephen. There is dense invasive species within the tree line within the riverfront area. And as was mentioned, if that area is allowed to revegetate naturally, there is going to be quite an extensive expansion of invasive vegetation in that area. And it would need to be, I think, maintained, some kind of maintenance program for the invasive species. It would be needed to maintain that area and allow it to revegetate in a more natural state.
Great, thank you. It is my understanding as well that we do not have a DEP number for this correct? Okay. So I think, all these comments today should just be taken as kind of our first initial comments and feedback for revisions. But I did want to see if there's any public comment before we move towards a continuance. Anyone in the public?
Seeing any hands?
Okay, so I'm going to make a suggested motion that we move to continue the public hearing to September 12th.
So moved.
Second?
Farrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Wittes,
Yes.
Zulik.
Yes.
All right, Stephen, when you have any of those revised docs, just you can email them directly to me and Lara, and we'll get those out to Lucas and the commission.
Okay, and just a side question, did the applicant property owner address the remaining fees that were necessary? I mentioned.
They have not. Thank you for bringing that. We haven't received any additional check.
Okay, all right, I sent, I believe last week at some point, kind of an amendment to our to get kind of a balance. I just wanted to confirm that dollar value before I relayed that to them. I just didn't know if they went down there and worked it out since that email.
Nope, nothing yet, but that was the correct amount. So yeah, whenever they can chance by, or even they can pay on Viewpoint as well if you want me to add them to the online submission.
Okay, all right, I will take a look into these comments, and I will get this to you as soon as possible.
Great, thank you.
Thank you all for your time.
All right, so I'm going to open the public hearing for 34 Central Street. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough's Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a continued public hearing on Thursday, August 22nd, 2024 at 7:19 p.m. via a virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a notice of intent for a project located at 34 Central Street, map 47, lot 58 for the applicant and owner, Lauren Ritchie and Scott Miller. The project description is the construction of an addition in the location of an existing deck.
Right, Vito Colano with Cornerstone Engineering, representing the applicant. So we were here at the last meeting, went over the project. I'm just gonna pop it up on the screen quick. And we just had some revisions to make based upon Lucas's comments and a few comments, and he was brought up by the board at the last meeting. So essentially, I just run down through those comments. Just a quick overview, just a reminder. The project was for a proposed addition off the rear of the house, right in here, in the location of an existing deck. So remove the deck and put an addition in generally the same location. We had wetlands on both sides of the project, running right along the railroad tracks and then paralleling Learned Street. So as part of the revisions, we need to adjust a few flag locations. We just basically went along with all the recommendations in Lucas's letter. And we adjusted the flagging and the no-touch buffer that goes along with it. And it didn't affect the limit of work, so the project. Most of the flagging there was some up in the end, and there was some down in this location, and then some across down by the railroad tracks. So we did reflect those, but it really didn't affect the work proposed. There was also some brush piles that were noted in the review letter, and we just added notes on the plan in those locations, just that those be removed as part of the work. I think there's one up here, one down in here, and I think there's one down in this location. We also added where if they did need dewatering, which I don't think they're going to need any, or at least not extensively. If they did have to dewater, where they would pump it up to. Basically, the upland area is stabilized lawn, splitting the difference between the two wetlands. Is they kind of try to stay as far from both of them as we can, and it would just be ringed with a straw bale corral, just in that time, just to settle out some of the sediments and give it as much separation as we can to the wetlands. We showed where just during the foundation excavation, where they just temporarily do a windrow of soil stockpile. And then once the foundation's complete, they backfill it and anything excess gets taken off the site. And then also we just added a note that overnight storage of equipment, when the backhoe is sitting there, that it get moved up to the front and just basically sit on the construction entrance, just so it's not in too close proximity to the wetlands. And it's got a stabilized area to sit on overnight. Those are all the revisions we made. I guess I can hand it back over if there are any outstanding questions.
Great, thank you, Vito. Do we have any questions from the commissioners? Hearing nothing. Oh, Kevin, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I think you got everything, so, that we talked about last time.
Great. Anything outstanding on the Lucas side of the house?
It appears that all of our comments have been addressed.
Great. I will open up for public comments.
Don't see any hands.
All right. I will move to close the hearing for 34 Central Street.
So moved?
Second?
Barrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Wittes.
Can I vote on this, Melissa?
I would abstain, or no,
I
so abstain. Yeah. And Zulik.
And so I'm going to move to issue an order of conditions for 34 Central Street.
So moved?
Second?
Barrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
and Wittes is abstain, and Zulik.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Have a nice night.
Thank you, Vito.
All right. I'm going to open the public hearing for notice of intent for 170 Woodland Road in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Westboro Wetlands Bylaw. The Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a continued public hearing on Thursday, August 22nd, 2024 at 7:25 p.m. via virtual. Am I supposed to say 7:15 or 7:25?
You can say 7:15 or whatever it's scheduled for. Yeah.
7 p.m. via virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a notice of intent for the project located at 170 Woodland Road, map 19, lot 110, for the applicant and owner, Sarah Schmidt. The project description is a construction of a pool, associated hardscape improvements, and a relocation of a shed.
Go ahead, take it away, Sophie.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sophie Shapiro, and I'm a wetland scientist with Goddard Consulting. I'm here tonight representing the applicant, Sarah Schmidt, for the proposed work on the site known as 170 Woodland Road. The DEP file number is 290-1123. I will be presenting the project updates to the commission. Can I share my screen?
Go ahead.
Thank you. You see that okay?
We're
Yes.
good.
Great. So to recap, there is a bordering vegetated wetlands in the southeastern part of the project area, which casts the 20-foot no disturb zone into the center and the 100-foot buffer zone over most of the rest of the project area. The project area is characterized by an existing single-family house with an associated lawn, driveway, patio, gazebo, hot tub, walkway, fence and retaining wall, and 2 sheds over here, one over here. The applicant proposes the construction of a pool and associated amenities, including an expanded patio and walkway, a pavilion, the relocation of one of the sheds, and a revised layout of the fence and the retaining wall. The only work proposed within the 20-foot buffer zone consists of shifting the existing fence and retaining wall approved under the COC for DEP file number 290-819 out of the 20-foot buffer. Here. And here. An erosion control barrier showed here in pink in the form of staked straw wattles and staked siltation fence shall be installed down gradient of the proposed work. Goddard submitted a supplemental information package to the commission on August 15th, addressing the commission's comments from the previous hearings and Lucas Environmental's comments from the site walk and the peer review. The requested and implemented revisions include shifting the proposed erosion control down gradient of the existing retaining wall over here, adding a dry well to the proposed patio to accommodate filter backwash and pool dewatering, revising a few wetland flags based on soil and vegetation data from the site inspection, and revising the colors of the plan to match the requirements, and revising the construction sequence to fix a few language errors. The supplemental package also provides the following requested information, and just to recap, the proposed swimming pool is saltwater. The proposed patio is made of ashlar stamped concrete. The proposed increase in impervious area amounts to 1,659 square feet. The area where the retaining wall is proposed to be removed will be converted back to lawn or stabilized with mulch. The stippled area here is the leaching field associated with the septic system on site, and the striped area is the remaining lawn area. And the package also includes narratives and documentation describing the proposed dry well here, and the history of the shallow marsh stormwater treatment system. Get it over here. And a bylaw waiver request for the removal of the existing retaining wall within the 20-foot buffer zone, and proof of abutter notifications and submittal to Mass DEP. And in summary, the applicant is seeking an order of conditions for the revised application. Can I address any questions?
Thank you. Any questions from the commissioners at this time? Anything remaining unanswered? Hearing nothing, gonna go to Lucas, Environmental. Joe, anything to add here?
Nothing to add. It appears that our comments have been addressed.
Great. Public comments?
Don't see any hands.
All right, so I'm gonna move to close the hearing for 170 Woodland Road.
Second?
Farrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Wittes, and
Yes.
Zulik.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so I'm also gonna make a second motion to issuing an order of conditions for 170 Woodland Road.
And that's just with our standards.
Yeah.
Standard specials.
So
Farrington,
yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Wittes,
Yes.
Zulik.
Yes.
Perfect. Sophie, I'll probably get this over to you tomorrow, probably in the morning.
Thank you very much. Sounds good. Have a wonderful rest of your night.
Thank you.
You too.
You do.
All right, moving on. I'm going to open the public hearing notice of intent for 20 and 22 Turnpike Road in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw. Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a continued public hearing on Thursday, August 22nd, 2024 at 7:20 p.m. via virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider two notices of intent for projects located at 20 Turnpike Road, map 39, lot 28, and 22 Turnpike Road, map 39, lot 29 and 32 for the applicant PLB LLC. The project description is restoration of a buffer zone, activities that exceeded the originally approved work limits for construction of a self-storage golf range facility and golf range facility respectively. These hearings will be held concurrently.
So we did receive some revised information, but there was requested for a continuance since that material was just received this week. We have forwarded it to Lucas for their review. So Peter Bemis has requested a continuance till 9/12 to give both the commission and Lucas some time to look over those documents. That's about it.
To continue the public hearing until September
9/12. Yep.
Can I get a second?
Sorry, I think there's feedback, Liz. We hear sounds like little ducks.
We need a second?
Yes.
Second.
Okay. Farrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Wittes,
Yes.
Zulik.
Yes. All right. Moving on, I'm going to open the public hearing for. Oh, sorry. This on the. All right. I'm gonna do an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for 25 Park Street. Continue to accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw. The Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a continued public hearing on Thursday, August 22nd, 2024 at 7:25 p.m. via virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for a project located at 25 Park Street, map 55, lot 93 for the applicant Sterlazzi, Morrow, Schneier, Morrow, Bannon, Pachucci, and Morrow. The project description is confirmation of resource area boundaries.
They've also requested a continuance until September 12th. I believe that Joe and the applicant's representative has been out to look at the site, so they are just putting together their revised plans with the new wetland line, and that just has not been completed yet. So they expect to be here at the next meeting.
Great. So I move to continue the public hearing until September 12th.
So moved.
Second.
Farrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Wittes,
Yes.
Zulik.
Yes. All right. I'm going to open the public hearing for 120 Turnpike Road. Continued. So in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a continued public hearing on Thursday, August 22nd, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. via virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a notice of intent for a project located at 120 Turnpike Road, map 37, lot 120-4 for the applicant FT 120 Turnpike LLC. The project description is construction of a 60-unit apartment building.
So they have also requested a continuance until 9/12. They were going to be here, but since we had some members missing, I did suggest, it was my suggestion more so to hold off for this meeting. And they are still putting together their complete revised submittal package, because I did remind them that they hadn't submitted anything formally to the commission in terms of revised materials, just to ZBA. So they have been on that, there's things because the building has moved that those necessities need to be fixed. So they plan to come on September 12th when we've got our full crew back.
Melissa, I have a quick question on that. Has there been any indication of where the 6.2 acres are on the map, and is it changing?
I don't know about it's changing. I think the general location of where it's shown now is where it's going to be, because it has to be in the southernmost area adjacent to Breakneck. But the exact, lot line, I haven't heard that it's explicitly changing. But I'm sure if they change it and submit any plans to ZBA, I'll be sure to forward those off to you guys.
At the ZBA last night, they mentioned that they're trying to move the septic area away from the property line with the Breakneck Hill conservation land. So the shape may be changing a little bit, but we haven't seen it. So
Got it.
All right, so I'm gonna move to continue the public hearing until September 12th.
Move.
Second?
Farrington,
yes,
Upton,
Yes.
Wittes,
Yes.
Zulik.
Yes. All right, so we're gonna move on to newer continued business. We have a couple COCs, but I believe, Melissa, do we discuss them if we're not gonna issue them?
Yeah, we don't have to discuss them. Essentially, I can do a quick brief over. For Dairy Farm, Vito did send me a quick email before the meeting that the grass clippings have been removed, but I haven't been out to check. So he's gonna, I'll do that in between now and the next meeting so we can vote on that then. And 10 Overlook still has some work to do. Joe had gone out and there's some other items that they need to address. So in between now and the next meeting, getting those worked out. I might take this off for the next meeting, depending on how their stabilization looks. And then for 2 East Main, I did receive and spoke with Peter Bemis, who's the owner of the property, and got some written confirmation today that he's going to be removing some millings and consolidating them to the area outside of the 50-foot buffer zone. You know, the entire property is within the buffer zone, obviously, but the 50-foot is kind of where it's been historically open and disturbed. So at least, keeping it outside of there, and he has to demonstrate progress with submitting applications at a minimum to planning to show that there's some intent with what is left over. And it's clear that it just can't sit there for the sake of sitting there. So that's, I think, by the first week in September, he stated that that work will be completed. So that is the update on 2 East Main. And then just for the rest of it, the only other thing is just a quick update on the Breakneck Hill Farm Dump. We have town meeting on September 20th, but we are going to get started at least on the access before then. We've gone through the bid order change and crossed all our T's and dotted our I's, and town council is comfortable. So I talked with Strategic today, and Strategic and TRC, our engineer, we're all going to speak on Thursday because there was some administrative aspects in terms of updating some of our submittals to DEP and EPA for our construction general permit and things like that that needed to be revised, along with some of the materials for the asbestos containing stuff, just to show our new proposed work. So we're well on our way. You're gonna see some movement again, which is nice. So this will be done by the winter. It might not be final stabilization, but all the stuff will be gone. So progress. I'm very hopeful that town meeting on September 20th will go well. It's something we have to do. So I understand the sticker shock, it hurts. It's kind of double what the initial amount was, but we just ran into so many unknowns. So good progress on there finally, and getting back into a lot of things. I'm sorry, my dog is squeaking. Liz, you're muted.
I said we couldn't hear your dog, and thank you for the update. Any other business? So I move that we adjourn at 7:40.
Oh, that 1 minute.
So moved. Second. So excited to be back. This is meetings.
Yeah.
Well, I want
Right,
to say it's
very-
always like this, but
Oh.
I don't know if that's true.
If Liz is here, no. Farrington,
yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Wittes,
Yes.
and Zulik.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, have a wonderful night.
Have a
don't
good
know if
night,
you guys
Melissa
everyone.
for everything.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I don't know if you're gonna know what to do with a whole, extra couple hours, but
I
enjoy
hope
it.
you have fun.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't already, make sure you fill out that doodle poll for the special set aside meeting for Chestnut Hill. I'll resend it out in the morning or right now, so we can make sure to get that on the books between now and the next meeting.
Great.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, bye, guys.
Night.
Right.
Good night.